late here. Technology is technology. And we are live right now, just making sure I can be heard. I believe that I am. Okay. So, what we're doing here today is a brand new episode of Clear Blue Radiance. And it's a topic that always appears in my mind. I start out usually with one concept or one idea, and before you know it, I have a whole new other one that comes up. So I went from just using a simple title like "You Can Become a Legend," and it seemed to bring a lot more with it. Well, I'm Brother Francis. I'm the host for Clear Blue Radiance podcast here on Resonant Essentials YouTube channel. Usually here at 1 p.m. Sometimes I come around 1:30, and right now it's 1:37 p.m. So today's topic is you can become a legend when you commit to making actual changes. Tag, you are the power that makes life happen. So I want to get that down here fully so that people can get it and see it just like I have it. So, one of the things that I do is I'm a teacher. I like teaching spiritual and metaphysical things. Um, to me, it's all one and the same. Meditation is one has been one of my fortes for years. Numerology is another forte, you know, and I've got over 40 plus years. Actually, is going on 48, already in my 48th year of being able to help people have greater clarity in their life, as well as discovering the purpose or redefining a purpose that they have. You know, our purpose changes as we change, and this is what we need to understand. We're constantly going through a change in our life, and we have to learn how to work with that change. You know, if we're not working with the changes, then we're not really growing. And sometimes we think life is picking on us. I was hearing that the other day. Someone said, I feel like life is picking on me. And I had to tell the person, no, life is not picking on you. You made certain decisions. Now, the thing is, you didn't have to be stuck in the decisions that you made. That's the key thing. We're not allowing ourselves to get stuck. And so once we could do that, once we can realize that, then our life actually can pick up and get better. So we have to learn how to become unstuck. Many times we get stuck in our thinking. I know that, I have many friends, and it's not a good thing. I have friends, some of my friends from around the country that I grew up with back east, and I realized that some of them think we're still in high school. I have a family member who thinks I'm still 15. I have certain other relatives who think I'm still in my 20s. Now they know that I'm not. I'm 50 years have gone by, 60 years have gone by, 55 years, 50 to 55 years have gone by, and here I am 70. Now, yeah, I got a childlike spirit about me, and so I have a tendency to act like one, but that doesn't mean that I am. So sometimes we see people how we saw them or met them in their past. And that's what we're accustomed to doing, dealing with them in the way that we met them when we first met them many, many years ago. And sometimes people grow attached to that part of yourself because That's what they want to see. That's the part of you that they felt most comfortable with. And sometimes people aren't gaining comfort, um, or being comfortable with who you are now. And so things change. Change is essential. So this program today is you can become a legend when you commit to making actual changes. Now, I'm not talking about being a legend for somebody else, for people outside yourself, even if it's family or friends. Because one of the things is you don't want to live from a pedestal. No one should be placed on a pedestal, and that's an uncomfortable position to be in. It's like another way of saying, well, I'm going to put you in the spotlight. I'm going to put you up front. You need to be up front. How do you know a person needs to be up front? Maybe the person that's telling you, maybe they need to be up front in their own life. Maybe they need to be under the spotlight. We are, when I use the word legend and I started to really think about it, you know, a legend is a person who has done something and they become iconic. They stand out. Then another meaning of the word legend is sort of like a rule, a standard that you go by, that you look at. In other words, are we using pixels or are we using just dots, as they say? Are we going by inches, centimeters, or millimeters? Are we going by um, various different terms? But the thing I'm trying to say here is that we set up a standard in our mind, the way that we want to be. We have a certain way and a certain look, a certain appearance. There's certain language that we use. There's some language you might use consistently. Some people are very good at it. Behind closed doors, people have a whole nother language that they use, where they don't have to feel like they're being pressured to sound perfect or be perfect. So there's stand out of this title today. And it's you can become a legend. That's legend. When you commit, that's the second one. To making actual changes, that's the third one. And then what? After that, you have power. Power. That's good to know. Now, I learned long ago that power is the result of force. Force we don't see. Force we could feel it, but we don't see it. But power you can see because it's right there in front of you. You can see the power. In other words, the power is the result. Power is the result of force. So if you see a powerful experience, a powerful hurricane, a powerful lightning storm, a powerful earthquake, you could see it. You can see that because that's the result of the force of an impact of something else that you didn't see, but you could feel it, or you may not have felt it. There's changes, and in life, there's a lot of changes. And one of the things about life itself is constantly changing ourselves. It's like dealing with digital stuff. It's moving so fast now, my mind is spinning from it. It's hard for me to kind of understand all this other stuff, even though it's been out there a little while, but I still don't get it. And maybe because in my mind, in my brain, I already made up my decision about certain things. Other people can acclimate themselves. They can adapt to different currencies. They've gone from paper to coins to digital, just like that in a matter of a year or less. But they're studying those things at the same time to get that greater understanding so they can make that shift. It is the same with we have weight, physical weight with the body, and then we want to be lighter. Well, how do we want to be lighter? Well, we want to flip, change. Do things differently. Eat less processed stuff, and more of the real stuff, the real foods. You want to get to a point where if you have land, you could grow your own food, grow your own vegetation, your own fruits and things of that nature. But for most of us, we can't. So, but look at the area that you're in and try to get to what they call a farmer's market, an indoor when the weather is not so good, and an outdoor when the weather is good. Now you're buying from other people that are growing, their potatoes and the yams and apples and oranges. You get all this stuff fresh. But when you get something fresh, you got to put it into motion right away. Well, it's the same thing when it's time to make a change, to make a shift in your life. It's learning how to make that shift and do it smoothly. Now, in the beginning, it's difficult to do a shift, make a shift smoothly. Why? Because there's so much action going around in your life. There's some things that we do. One of the things that we do sometimes is we go backwards because to be able to make the shift, to be able to make the change, we get a little nervous about making a change because we don't know where that if we make that change, where is it going to lead us? Well, what we have to be able to do is this: we have to be able to allow ourselves the opportunity to do something better, see something better, experience something better. And the only way we can do that is shift the way that we think, change our outlook. In other words, there are some people, and I'm not going to just say people outside myself, I've done it, and sometimes I can catch myself doing it. Because as I say, I'm not perfect. I'm sharing these words as wisdom with you and their experiences. But one of the things that does happen is sometimes I will find myself slipping into a negative thought pattern. In other words, a pattern that doesn't serve me well. And I have to catch myself. And one of the ways to do that, and the most all important way to do that, is before you people say think before you act. Well, before you think and act, meditate on it a little bit. Why? Because in your moments of meditation you can catch yourself tripping up, saying old thoughts, repeating those old thoughts. And all old thoughts bring what? Old words. And from old words, old feelings. And then it brings up the past where you've had some traumatic experiences. So then you believe the traumatic is going to happen again because you haven't allowed yourself room to see or think something differently. So we have to change the outlook, but in order to change our outlook, our viewpoint on something, we have to see something different. And we have to go within ourselves in order to see something different. When we learn to go within, what are we doing? Where we're allowing ourselves to look inside ourselves deeply. What is it that we realize that we are doing over and over, repeating? When we look at ourselves repeating something over and over again, then we could see the pattern. We have set forth a certain pattern, a certain behavioral pattern, how you behave. Or better yet, you're either acting or reacting. So you're either acting on a change or reacting to a change. You don't want to really be in a position where you're reacting unless you're acting at a higher level. Because with the word react, re doesn't mean just repeat, but it means do it at a higher level. So, what's a commitment like? A legend is a standard, a certain standard of activity when you have a legend. A commitment is more like an agreement or contract with yourself. It's a reminder, basically. Mentally commit. You're thinking about doing something, allowing yourself to participate at whatever level of life that you are in and to go a little higher. So you're making this contract or this agreement, this arrangement with yourself. Now, as you make that arrangement with yourself, you are giving yourself the opportunity or opportunities to shift your awareness about something. We need to shift our awareness. If we're not shifting our awareness, then again, we're waiting for the old way of doing something to reoccur. So change is essential. And if we keep doing things over and over and over and over and over, as I said, it's not getting us anywhere. It's not allowing you greater freedom of movement and thought, then you're forced to change. Why? Because then you miss out on a particular cycle or rhythm. And then you're unable to. That's like going to a place where you hear music and they got four or five bands, but they're all playing the same music. But you get more energy from it when you're hearing different kinds of music, from jazz and swing to salsa, right? Music to blues music, if you like to listen to blues players, or you listen to house music, right? R&B, house, dance music. So now you can get energy from either one of those. Change allows us to break out of a habit, a routine habit. Now, there's certain routines that we keep, like bathing, combing our hair, brushing our teeth, cleaning out your ears, changing your clothes, washing bed linen, cleaning your home. Those are all routines that you need to do anyway, right? You need to have certain routines in place. Why? Because they give structure. You need to have a sense of structure. So when you have a sense of structure, then what happens? You have this opportunity to do what? Lift yourself out of the doldrums, out of strict bored activity. Release yourself from boredom and then allow yourself to graduate, to step into something better. People have said, and many of you have experienced this, people might say to you, "Well, how is it that you move from one end of the country to another? You didn't know anything about that side of the country. How did you do that? And why did you do that?" Well, many of us have our different reasons. While I was out shopping for some things for people on Monday, I ran into some people who work at a place and own a place in the Old Town area, and it was interesting. I said, I lived in Jersey for a while, but I grew up on Long Island in New York, state of New York. But when I mentioned Jersey, the two people that were running this place, they were from Jersey. And the woman who I was talking specifically to, she was from the surrounding area of Newark, New Jersey, lived in Newark. And I said, well, I wasn't born in Newark, I lived in the Ironbound. And her face lit up. She automatically knew what I was talking. It's an amazing situation. So you meet people who used to be where you used to live. But imagine talking to people who never had a chance to move or they travel, but they're accustomed to the environment that they're in. I found myself growing like that too. Now that I've been here for 11 years, I don't even want to see the East Coast. I don't even want to go back. There's nothing there for me. Really. Yeah, I have some friends, but when I lived there, we didn't connect. Now that I'm here, they're wishing I had a connected or had a connected. But there was time for us connect to do that, but it wasn't enough time because for whatever reason that was in my mind or their mind, we weren't allowing the connection to take place. When I moved from Long Island to New Jersey, the people in New Jersey, when I moved here, they were feeling the same thing that the New Yorkers were feeling. Like, you're never coming back. There's nothing there. I don't have a connection. I'm the kind of person that once I make up my mind to move and I move to a location, I automatically hook into it, anchor myself in it so I can feel it. Places have people can experience whatever you want, just like any other place. You can experience crime, bad times, you name it. You can experience the best of the best, and you can name that too. So it's all about change. And sometimes different environments make you change. It's not the different challenges. The only challenge was the environment. But there are similar people, similar opportunities that you go through, events that you go through that allow you to experience that change that you had to change. So when this title says you become a legend, when you commit to making actual changes. Now that's different. Actual, part of the word actual is act. So you have to allow yourself to act on something, act on a decision, act on a feeling, act on a thought. In other words, carry it out methodically for yourself. You have to feel comfortable with carrying it out. Sometimes you can't, though, especially if there's an emergency. But if your energy is strong enough and rooted enough, anything outside of you will be easy for you to adapt to if necessary. But it's all about, again, positive thinking. So that was my actual title. I was going to talk about positive thinking, but it came across anyway. Because once you realize you have a standard of something to live up to, you've created this standard in your mind. The standard allows you to follow what? A specific procedures. Allows you to lay something out, test it out, follow it out, see how it works. Then put it into full motion if you feel comfortable with it. But the other part of it is what? Feeling comfortable with yourself. Then it is for you to, it's easy for you to produce. It's easy for you to be industrious. But you can be industrious in a way that's helpful for you at different stages or different levels of your existence. Take, for instance, an artist, a musician, especially if the musician is either solo or in a band. They have to keep working at stuff, right? Yeah, they have a regular job, but they may make money as a musician where they teach uh, children and adults how to play the specific instrument that they play, and they gather the money that way. Maybe they have acquired a grant, gather the money that way, so that the grant and the basic money of the grant, what? Take care of their living expenses. Now they can practice and practice and practice till their practice becomes easier to play their specific instrument, which could be their voice, a string instrument, a wind or brass instrument, string instrument, percussion instrument. It allows a person time. So what in order to make an actual change, you have to create a behavioral change with how you behave. Sometimes people may not understand why you're being so quiet. And sometimes you don't feel like having to explain why you're being so quiet, especially when you know deep inside yourself you're not harming somebody. And you don't have to explain it either because the person knows you're not harming them. But sometimes they may put that in their mind. Oh, that person dislikes me. No, if you didn't do anything to the person and the person didn't do anything to you, then why are you thinking that way? I remember having friends and relatives growing up like that. They would assume that they saw me quiet. Some people, I had a job. I worked at a job one time, and I worked there, I think, 4 years maybe. Yeah, I worked there 4 years. I was a not the maintenance guy. They had a maintenance crew. I was like the porter, the guy that would clean the restrooms, clean the floors, sweep the floors of this factory, then go up to the offices, vacuum and clean, and do all that stuff, right? And I had to do it all within 8 hours because I didn't get overtime often. But this is what I learned. I understood the routine, and I did the routine in a way that it was more efficient for me. It was more efficient for me, not efficient for the people who I worked for, but for me. I made sure that it was comfortable for the people that worked there. But here's what else that I learned: that whatever I was doing there as a cleaning person, I had to make sure that I got it done without interruption. So what I used to do was be not just patient, but be silent. And I was always pleasant. I was just silent. And the more silent I became, sometimes people thought I was angry at them. And then I would ask them, okay, when you came in this morning, did you hear me say good morning to you? And they go, no, I don't think you said good morning. Then the person that they're working with will say, yeah, he did say it. He said good morning, and he said it in a jovial way. And he didn't make anything else out of it. He said, hey, Marlene, hey, Mrs. So and so, hey, Mr. So and so, hey, Jack, hey, Jim, boo, boo, boo. But I said it the minute I saw them. And then I went on about my day. So sometimes people are thinking on you so hard. Like that person didn't talk to me today. That person didn't say anything. That person didn't call. That's the thinking that person has. And why would they be thinking that? Well, they might be accustomed to a certain routine that you're doing. Sometimes if a person doesn't hear from you, it doesn't mean that they are upset with you. They got other stuff going on. Look at the guy that, you know, committed suicide just recently. One of many. He's a well-known person, but there's people who you don't know anything about that commit suicide. And we think, okay, because the person is smiling in front of the camera, or the person who's not a celebrity who's smiling every day, we just assume that that person's okay. And a person who may look like they have an angry scowl on their face, look, that doesn't actually mean that they're angry. Some people do that just to keep people off of them. We have to learn that not everybody is a happy-go-lucky person. Some people are just surviving moment to moment, day to day, emotionally and mentally. A lot of people have a lot of things going on in their mind that they can't share with other people because they don't want people judging them. And people might say, well, just get over it. No, it ain't that easy to get over. If it was, everybody in the world would be getting over and you would have no suicide rates. You would have no reason for somebody to call a suicide hotline. There'd be no reason for that. And that hotline wouldn't exist. So we have to pay more attention to what's going on. So I just use that as an example. So now, how does that fit into what I'm talking about? Well, in order to make a change, a significant change, an actual change, you do have to go through a mental process with an emotional connection to all of your thoughts. You have to think it all the way out. Some people are good at thinking. They play chess very well. They do puzzles very well because they think. Some people are feelers. I'm a feeler more than a thinker. But what you have to begin to realize in order to see a shift in your life, a change in your life, in order to see powerful things happen on subtle levels in your life, you must really love yourself more to make that shift. You have to find out what is a healthy shift for you. Once you understand what that is, then the shift can be taken. The change can happen because now you're willing to do something different that you didn't do before. Or however you did it before, you do it differently. Neil Donald Walsh wrote a book he's the guy that wrote the book Conversations with God. But he wrote many other books after that, and I have one on my shelf that says, when things change everything. Can you imagine that? When things around you start to change and you see them changing, you can feel the change happening. And you can tell by the way the change is taking place, you might be swept up into something without understanding what's thoroughly going on, truly, as he say to do. As he says, as paraphrasing, as you see these changes occur around you, you must start to change in accordance with what you see that's changing. Now, that means that some things are changing externally. Doesn't mean you have to take everything within yourself and change it. Change those things that you would put into motion in your life every day. Those things you may have to change. But there's a great deal of things you don't have to change. Again, it's like how you choose to respond. The word responsibility is the ability to respond. Respond to what? To what you feeling and seeing and thinking and others are putting out there around you. The first thing is just keep the mind calm. Keep your mind calm. Keep your emotional nature calm. Those are the most two important things. What you think and what you feel has to come onto the same stage, the same page. If they're not on the same page, in agreement, a harmonious agreement, what you're thinking and what you're feeling, there are going to be some confused, chaotic moments, confused, chaotic events that could throw you totally off balance, throw you off center. So those things you have to change, move around, shift, and make it happen for yourself. That's very important. So, yes, you can become a legend when you commit to making actual changes in your life. Although you can set the standard, you can become iconic for you. Doesn't mean egotistical, self-centered. It just means you come into understanding who you are. You have a better presence of mind of the I am presence within yourself. You begin to realize, yeah, you're this infinite metaphysical being doing all these things. But guess what? If you're not happy, if you're not really happy with yourself, and you have to be happy with yourself, other people cannot make you happy. You must be happy. Just be happy with the most simplest of things about yourself. Then look at your environment. Is there anything you need to do in your environment to replicate that? The whole idea is to be centered. The whole idea, everybody has the same mission in life. Everybody. So, what's my true purpose in life? Your true purpose in life is to first know who you are, understand who you are, and love yourself unconditionally. The next step is to be able to see that with other people. Some people say, hey, if you're alone all the time, how do you make things happen? How do you survive? Well, if you have self love, you'll be fine. If you love yourself, you will be fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. If you can love yourself totally unconditionally without judging yourself, then it's easy for you to relate to others. There's an elder friend of mine, and she knew my late mother. She's no longer. I don't think she's on the planet, because when I came this way, she was already in her 90s, late 80s, I would say. Her name was Sister Lewis, and Sister Lewis would say this: it takes 6 months, the first 6 months out of the year, to mind your own business, and the rest of the 6 months of the year to stay out of everybody else's business. So what she was saying was, be mindful of how your life is running. Stay in touch with your life. Do the things you need to do to feel better about yourself, and not be outwardly concerned right away about other people's life, because you're not here to change anyone else. You're only here to change yourself. Let me say that again. You are not on this planet to change other people. You're here to learn how to change yourself without judgment. Because if you're more loving to yourself, it'll be easier for you to show love, which is unconditional love, to others. And what other people have to learn how to do is allow you to be who you are, not change you. Just learn to accept. And if they're not comfortable with you, it's okay. They need to be with someone else, be with other people. It's all right. Now, before I sign out, I want to thank you for joining me today, which was Thursday, 12/22, 2022. Look at that there. Those master numbers sitting up in there. This was that day in which to give you this topic. Again, it was, you can become a legend when you commit to making actual changes. Tags, like the universe is tagging you, selecting you, and reminding you that you are the power that makes life happen. Well, be sure to like and subscribe Resonant Essentials YouTube channel. When you come by and you watch the different videos, whether I'm putting one here or Johanna Rada of Orbital Astrology is putting something here. She does her thing usually on Sundays. So she won't be doing anything this Sunday. I don't think she'll put anything on this Sunday because this is the Christmas time. And then New Year's falls on a Sunday too. So I think maybe she might pre-record it and put it up. So you want to like and subscribe to Resident Essentials YouTube channel. When you do that, whenever one of us comes on, bing, you get the notice on your phone or in your email or on your laptop that we're coming on live. Join Resident Essentials, the group on Facebook. Join Resident Essentials, the group. Now, the purpose of joining the group is you can meet other people, and then eventually, if you live here in the area, maybe you might want to meet Michelle, the owner of Resident Essentials, and become a teacher or a practitioner at her location. Resident Essentials is located at 3107 3107 Eubank which is EUBANK Boulevard Northeast, just north of the intersection of Eubank and Candelaria. Well, 3107 Eubank Boulevard Northeast, here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, is the Northeast Heights area, and it's inside of the Scottsdale Shopping Village. So if you're heading south on Eubank, you're going to make a right turn where you see that tower, that sign. That's 3107. You're going to drive past Chili Chicken on the right side in the parking lot. Then the parking lot opens up, and then you'll see the green with the black trim, and that window section there. All of that is Resident Essentials. You can go right in there. Okay. Suite number 34. Now, there are a lot of different events that go on, classes and courses and things. Some are done online because some practitioners work out of state, live out of state, and they can come occasionally into Resident Essentials. I myself live right here in Albuquerque. I'm there usually every Saturday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., offering my Creative Pathwork meditation series, which is designed to use creative pathwork guided energy techniques and sensory techniques to open yourself up so you can step into the realm of the silent chamber energy within yourself so that you can link up with your higher self and have a dramatic change. Okay, I'm there every Saturday, but I won't be there this Saturday nor next Saturday. So I'm not there Christmas Eve day and I'm not there New Year's Eve day. We'll be back there on Saturday, January the 7th. Okay, so I'll be back on January the 7th. Now, on Sunday, January the 8th, the second Sunday of the month, we'll be doing our monthly psychic and healing fair. I will be there with lots of other regular people and new practitioner people there. So it'll be a great time. It's free admission from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. and you pay X amount, so many bucks a minute, yeah, like $1 a minute, and $20 for a 20-minute session. So just stop into Resident Essentials just to meet us if you like during the fair. That's also a good thing to do as well. You can also go to the website at www.resonant, Resonant, essentials, essentials, Essentials com. Go to www.resonantessentials.com. When the page comes up, click on practitioners. See who are the practitioners in state and out of state working through Resident Essentials. Click on events to check out the calendar. Do that. Maybe you want to get a reading from a different people. We have the centers open usually Tuesday through Saturday from about 12 a.m. 12 p.m. to about 4 or 5 p.m. But guess what? If you go and look at the calendar on Tuesdays, you'll have Amber, who does Reiki. You'll have Nicole Bruton Phillips, who works with Oracle cards, and she does information that can help you on different levels, whether you got a child that needs insight, needs to be heard, to working with adults who need some insight. So that's like the dynamic duo on a Tuesday. Okay. And then you have Wednesday, we have somebody. Thursday, we have somebody. Friday, we have somebody. Michelle is in there anyway, Tuesday through Saturday, assisting people as well. I'm there on a Saturday. We have Brian Kurtz. He comes in usually teaching classes sometimes on a Friday or a Saturday. So a lot of different events. You need to check the calendar at www.resonantessentials.com. You can find out everything that's going on. All right. If you have any questions for me, you could leave the question here in the chat room or email me at iam.circlegrace1@gmail.com. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm the host for Clear Blue Radiance. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you next time. So, when will you see me? You're going to see me on the 29th, Thursday the 29th, yeah, at 1 or 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right, and I look forward to connecting with you. And then in January, I'll be on Thursday, January the 5th. Take care, everybody. See you really soon.